Okay, I've been asked to comment on the Hawthorne Police Department shooting of the dog and the suspect that they arrested. I want to say to you that, first of all, the police officers had no reason to stop the man who was filming them with their, I guess it was a burglary suspect of their burglary operation. You have every right in the world to videotape whomsoever you please. Now, it would have been a different thing if he had been obstructing justice by making so much noise that the police officers either could not communicate or it was just an obstruction to their commands. He wasn't doing that. He simply asked a question. In the United States of America, you have the right to ask any questions that you want to, unless there's a period of time when you're supposed to be quiet, such as in a courtroom. This man never should have been in an encounter with the police at all. Now, in police procedures, there is an acceptable procedure called ignoring a person. He simply should have been ignored and allowed to film whatsoever he chose. I'm of the firm persuasion that people need to videotape as much as they possibly can. The reason is you may have to videotape some bad guys who've done something very wrong. And your video may be the difference between conviction and whether they escape. You may also need to videotape some bad cops. And believe me, there are bad cops, bad judges, bad lawyers, you name it. So if a person's trying to prevent you simply from using your video equipment, that's a violation of your rights. That's your personal property. And if it doesn't obstruct police work whatsoever, it never should be an issue. So the police officers should not have even dealt with that man at all, period, simply to ignore him. Since they did come and arrest him, he'll probably get an attorney. They'll probably be found guilty of abusing their authority as police officers because it's not in the guidelines of their police authority. And they'll probably, the defendant will probably, the plaintiff will probably win. On the other hand, the issue of the dog. Now, the shooting of the dog in the manner that, and for the reason that the dog was shot, would be appropriate because a police officer has no obligation to anyone to go home with stitches simply because your dog jumped out of a car and he wasn't placed in there properly. But they have a thing called fruit of the poisonous tree. And that means if the initial stop, if the initial action, if the initial involvement was not right, then the subsequent actions were not right. They should not have even been in an encounter with that man, and therefore that dog should have never been shot. That's the facts. That's the truth. 22 years of police work, and I say that the cops were in fault. I condemn their actions, and they need to be some punitive action needs to be taken on them for what they did. I think it would be fair if they paid for all the anguish that this man went through, as well as the loss of his dog. So all of you bleeding hearts out there and you animal activists, you're absolutely right this time, because the police should not have even bothered with the man to begin with. The dog was protecting his owner, and unfortunately the police were bothering the owner when they should not have been. 22 years of experience, that's my opinion.